Well, hey everybody, how's it going? I am just kind of getting started this morning, double checking that things are working good. It looks like they are. I am going to go ahead and do this, get in the game here, and figured we would do a little prospector mining today. I'm just gonna hit best on the server, and in we go. So happy Saturday morning to you. Saturday morning is one of my favorite times to kind of sneak on and do a little mining. Pour myself a cup of coffee and kind of get after it for the day. Goal is to at least bring in a couple Quantanium loads. Hopefully we can accommodate that. It always depends on what you find, that's for sure. I think I'm going to wake up here on Arc L1. At least I hope I am. If not, we'll audible. Very sunny, beautiful day today outside, but very cold. I think -2 Fahrenheit outside right now, so quite chilly. Kind of head down here, and we won't spend a lot of time monkeying around here. Turn off the chat for now. Jumptown is still happening right now, so at least for another few hours today. So we're going to kind of dip in, taking advantage of that. We'll just kind of stay anonymous. So yeah, Arc L1, good. And let's just take a look at how our ship is configured right now, Prospector 1. Looks like we're solid on brands. So we'll go ahead and pull the ship and get started this morning. This is our guy here. Just had to make an adjustment there. I wanted to make sure the chat, I could see the chat really well. Pad 2. Off we go. Bit of a helmet check. Try and do those before I run out into the void. Oh, the Prospector's engines are on. She's warming herself up. So I had a weird issue with anti-cheat this morning. It said I was cheating and wouldn't let me in. So I deleted the easy anti-cheat folder in the live folder and restarted the application, and that seemed to kind of convince it that I wasn't cheating.
Hello. How can this help you today?
A little pre-flight here. Looks like I need to top off with some hydrogen. I think the last time I set this guy down, it was a parking violation. We'll plot our,
Hydrogen fuel at 100%.
chart our course over here to Lyria. Up we go. Bring the gear up.
Landing gear up.
And off we go towards our core.
Quantum travel engaged.
Thank you, and please visit again.
So it'll be interesting. I am looking forward to the mining gadgets. When you can get out of your ship and attach them to the rock and do this kind of mini game where I think you kind of tune somehow to the rock and it debuffs the rock somehow. I think is the right way to say it from a gaming mechanic standpoint. But it allows for maybe your laser to put a little more power into the or a little more laser intensity, or flattens out the instability, or I think it's probably going to primarily work the same as the consumables, but maybe because you've taken the time to get out and do it, they kind of stack. So that'll be interesting. I wonder how big a rock she'll be able to break. I always do feel like with the mole, I wish they would do like some 13,000 mass rocks that only the mole could crack. And I don't want that to be every rock, but some like a small percentage of them, if they were super big, super gargantuan, where you could only crack them with a couple of lasers on them, 2 or 3 prospectors, or the mole at its full capacity. That would be kind of nice, knowing that you could, in one rock break it up and haul more or less a full mole in when you located one like that. I also think that they need to definitely do a little work on ROC mining right now. The scanning mechanics are kind of rough. I did an ROC stream the other day. I've really thought about it over the last couple of days. I really think that ROC mining needs to be in a better place. It's a great game loop. It's so much fun. If they just would tweak the scanning mechanics a little bit and make it a little easier for handling the individual rock pieces, I think it would be, something that, it would just make the loop, I don't know, way better. Certainly a lot less tedious. So we're heading into Shubin Processing Facility, SPAL 12. And I'm just going to pick a direction, any direction, and go for a little ways. We'll take a look and try and find some stuff. So you try and, I don't know, go around 300 or so, somewhere up around that area, and fly somewhere around 2,000 off the deck. If you don't have to active ping, and you don't always on Lyria, don't, but there certainly can be some times when you've been looking around for a while, and whatever you can do to break the mojo, as long as you can find something to mine. That's the most important thing. There's a doubler right off the bat. That's actually a cluster right off the bat, just like we like it. So that is that's a good thing. There's quite a few of them over there too. Good news is that's at least the meta has been up to this point. Every one of those rocks is Quantanium, and this is why we do this. So let's take a look at what we got. That's a big cluster too. Wow. I don't know that I've ever. Well, let's count them out. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. I've seen a 9 before. I think 10 is the best I've ever. So it's a lot of rocks, but that doesn't mean there's always going to be something in here to mine. We have great hope that there will be, though.
Mining mode on.
And I'm just kind of waiting for the, for this server tick so we can get a little bit of love on the scan results here. Sometimes I find that flying right in on them. Kind of giving them a little, kind of changing things out, maybe hitting different ones. Little tricks. I don't know that any of them work. But they. It's kind of one of those superstitions you have as an old miner. The server will eventually tick. I tend to find that it's a little slower during Jumptown, and I think that makes sense. There's probably a lot of Jumptown assets that are streaming. So Jonesy's asking if I have some specific mining heads. It's a good question. I actually have a Lancet on my Prospector this time. That's what I generally run with, is the Lancet on the Prospector. And I have the mining consumables I have on board are brands. So pretty vanilla in that regard. I mean, I primarily headhunt for Quantanium. And so I want to maximize kind of flattening out, the instability and that type of thing. Steven, you're right. Steven's saying there's a lot of dud rocks. There are a lot of dud rocks. I mean, there's no question about that. Big joke with me and a good buddy of mine who mine all the time is they wouldn't call fishing, they'd call it catching if every single time you just went out and got them. So I agree with what you're saying for sure. There's a lot of dud rocks. That's why we hope when you get into a cluster, you get a little better with that. I'm gonna go real close this time. There they go. So finally got them to finally pop, so I can start scanning them here. Steven saying I can take 20 minutes before getting a nice rock. Sometimes I get clusters of quant, but they're dud. Absolutely, they are sometimes a dud. Now this is the first one I've scanned here. It looks like to be a 6700 at 25%. So that's not a bad rock, but it's a little beyond our capabilities with the Prospector. So. I don't have the surges and the stampedes on board. This is going to be a really good one here. Not a bad rock. This is 54 mass at a 24%. That actually, I have a quant calculator here. Let me look at that. That actually might be. I'm using an application called QuantCalc that's an alpha right now, and I'm just gonna. It's on my phone, so this is a 5474 mass, real quick, and that is a 24.43. 24.43. Oops, I didn't do a point. That's 26.75 quant in that one. That's not terrible. And so that's the first couple rocks I've looked at. Yeah, so that's good. Let's go ahead and we'll keep scanning here. This is not going to have too much in it there. Not much in that one. Still got 5 rocks to scan here. Not much in that one. You can tell right off the bat if it's got kind of a big green block like that one does. You're not going to have a healthy. Nope. 2 more to scan. Nothing in this one really. Last rock. And nothing in that one. So the first 2 that I scanned, it's funny, ended up being the ones with stuff in them. This is actually not a bad rock either. the mass is a little bit too big for the current setup I have for the Prospector, but there's a little bit more in that one, being 6,700 at 25%. But this one will suffice here. This breaks our golden rule of anything over 15 SCU. This is going to be more mid-20s SCU. So we hope that it breaks and that we get slightly over 20 SCU, which would be fine. Not every time you come out and mine do you get a unicorn. Obviously, that's always the goal, to get a unicorn. But you don't always get one. So I'm going to start building some laser intensity in this thing. I'm going to get into a good range, and we're going to get this guy broke. So Steven is asking if I have an org. You can, I think it's spectrefleet.space. But if you leave a comment just in the comments, Steven, I can get back to you. It's spectrefleet.space, I believe, is the website. I am in an organization. It's called Spectrefleet, and I am in the industry part of that organization. We are a really active group. We have a lot of current and former military guys, and it's not super serious. It's mature, really good group of guys. I've been playing with them for, gosh, getting close, at least somewhere around 8 months or so, and it's been a really good experience. I have never looked back after kind of getting with these guys. Shameless plug, I guess. So we're building energy kind of slowly into this thing. It is it's a 5,400 mass. The biggest rocks you're going to find in space are 5,200. So this is slightly bigger than those ones. We will break this one. It just will take a little time. And sometimes kind of getting in real close and agitating the laser will help a little bit. You can always actually use the branch to flatten out the resistance as well. But we will eventually be able to get the energy into this thing. Yeah, absolutely. That sounds great. If you leave your Discord in there, we can catch up and chat, and I appreciate that, Stephen, for sure. We're always looking for folks that, we have a fighter group, obviously Marine group. We have a logistics group, which is, more responsible for flying larger craft, and an industry group. So we have a very healthy organization with lots and lots of folks, and would love to have more like-minded folks along. Absolutely. All right, so we need to get a little energy into this thing. It's definitely being a little grumpy, but we'll find it'll build. I mean, this is just not the size of rock that cannot get broken. It gets broken every time. So. Reach for a little sip of coffee here. Starting to get up towards the optimal. We'll keep a pretty good eye on it once we get there. If we have to use a branch, we absolutely will. Hey Robert, that's a great question. Robert's asking, is Lyria still worth it? He says he's mined off, been mining off and on there for a while. Haven't really found anything noteworthy. Now Lyria for me is usually quite noteworthy, at least for myself, because every time you find more than 2 rocks or a cluster, it's always Quantanium. It's never not. It's 100% of the time Quantanium. Every time you go mining on Lyria, and it's more than 2 rocks. If you see 2 together or more, it's never not Quantanium. So in that capacity, I tend to find it's pretty efficient if you stay moving along really well. It definitely is. lucrative in that capacity. So, hey, thanks, Steven. I appreciate that. I'll definitely look back through the chat here later, write that down, and reach out to you through Discord. So I'm going to let the optimal climb a little bit higher. The first time it broke into there, I kind of rolled the laser back as soon as it got in, and then she decayed and fell out. So keeping a good eye on it. I don't want it to fall out this time, but I also obviously don't want it to spike over. Fell out a touch, but right back in there. I think we have a good break going here. It's gonna be nice and tight to the end of the optimal window. To the beginning of the optimal window. Good break. Yep. So the mass limit, Jonesy's asking what the mass limit for the Lancet is. It's somewhere around 5,800. I don't know that there's perfect math in that, but it's somewhere around there, for sure. So there's a 17%er. That's not necessarily, and there's a 25%. I was going to say that's not necessarily a good sign. Looks like a lot of this broke up into a lot of little stuff. So we'll go ahead and break them all up, whatever we need to, but we'll have to sort through pretty good. We didn't get kind of the real solid breaks where there's a 21%, or what's this guy down here? Must be one of them down there must have a decent percentage in it. All right, so there's an 81%er. All right, so looks like we're going to have a few of them to break up, and maybe even one on top of one, just to kind of see if it'll give us some more wiggle room. Looks like a lot of this rock is down towards the bottom of the pile here, so someday in organizations type events, I hope to be able to utilize like the tractor beam on like the 315P to kind of spread the, when you break up a rock and you have where it's on top of the rest of it or whatever, where you could use that to pull off a piece. I'm hoping that that's a thing at some point. Certainly not here or now, but in the future. So we're kind of keeping an eye on the optimal window here. It's still 1.57. It's a completely manageable break without the brand. This is only a 17% in there. That being said, you kind of gotta keep an eye on it. It can jump real quick. Yeah, that's a good break, and I did not end up using a consumable. So Robert is saying the Lancet definitely won't cut through 6,026. I used 2 surges and only managed to blow it. Yeah, the 2 surge technique is something that you get. It takes a little while to get used to, and I definitely find that I seem to be pretty good. I can get it right in the pocket there, or occasionally I don't. And 6,000s are the good thing about a 6,000 is at least if you do get into the high optimal, normally you'll hang on to that. It won't go crazy. That being said, whenever you're double surgeon or whatever, it can get away from you for sure. Definitely requires a level of focus when you're doing that stuff. All right, so that's broken. The good news is we got a little bit of mustard there where it kind of knocked some of the stuff free. That's nothing there. That's good. I think this is gonna. Yeah, that's good. So some of this is gonna fall away down here, and this one doesn't have anything in it. That's 100% quartz, but this one does have a little bit in it. So let's go ahead and get this one chopped up. I've tended to find that it's around 5,800 or so with the Lancet, and that takes a little while. I mean, it takes a little while when you're, it's somewhere around there that it will eventually, But when it's usually that, even at that, I'm usually using a branch or two to kind of flatten out the resistances and stuff. So I'm gonna.
Warning. Power critical.
Back off of this guy a little. Alrighty, now this isn't actually a pretty good mass rock, too. We've got, this is a, you know, almost a 1,300 pound rock at 80%. Oh, Robert's saying he watched a previous stream or two and kind of picked up the double surge technique or decided to give it a crack. I understand. That's not an easy thing to want to do at all. Now you can see some of that broke under the rock there. That's probably not going to serve me well. I think the biggest piece of that, and you can see it actually fell away under the planet. So I definitely had a piece that was sticking out that I could see right there, but it fell. So probably lost a pretty good chunk of this thing. That's nothing. What do we have here? That's nothing. Let's go ahead and give this thing a look from a different angle. Yeah, I think the majority of this rock actually broke away. I'm going to break a couple of these pieces just to break them. Steven is saying, I use the torpid to break the resistance to transfer more energy. You know, I kind of got, you know, maybe I'm stuck in a little rut myself. I just find that the Brant is such an easy, is so easy street that I kind of stick to those pretty good unless I'm actually specifically going out to break larger rocks. Then I will definitely go with the two surges in a stampede, or two surges in an optimum. Alfie Bumbler, hey, good evening. You know, obviously it's an early morning here in the States. It's 10 a.m. But you know, I will certainly wish you a fine evening. So yeah, I think a lot of this rock broke underneath. We're gonna get some of it for sure. But this, I'm gonna try and break up a little more of this stuff on top. I'm hoping that maybe I can get a little more access to. This did not break great. I mean, it really didn't. I think a lot of it broke, but then ended up underneath. I'm going to break this quartz guy up and see if I can. What I'm trying to do is get some of that stuff that broke underneath to bubble up to the top. And this is no guarantee it's going to work, but the largest piece of the rock here, the 1,200 pound 80%er, broke, and a lot of it, and it was mostly impacted under the ground, and I think a lot of it may have fallen away. But we're just going to go ahead and see if we can get lucky here and bubble up a little crude. A little Beverly Hillbillies reference there. All right, well, that's about as good as we're gonna do. It's 3 o'clock in the UK and evening in Australia and early here. That's the way the world works. It's a beautiful thing when people from around the world can kind of get together and chat. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. I think a lot of this broke. I don't know that I'm going to get a ton of rock here. I'm a little bit concerned, actually, that we're not going to get a ton. But we're going to go ahead and give it a try anyway, so. None of this broke cleanly at all. I'm wondering if when I start kind of extracting here, if it's going to open up, you know, where I can get at some of the other stuff. This started out at over 20 SCU, but I don't know that we're going to get there. It's a high volume there. that's a high volume there. That's a decent mass. That's going to get us over 10, so we're not doing terrible. But there was 24 SCU in this rock to start with. Oh, there's a little piece there, too. Oh, that's 100% quartz. And let's get on this guy here. That's nothing. Yikes. I knew that's got very little Quantanium in it. Not a lot going on over here. I think the lion's share of that rock, or a big chunk of it, did fall beneath the surface, but we'll go ahead and get everything we can. Anytime we can get over 15 SCU, we're happy about that. Ati saying, thanks for your helpful vids. He's been prospecting mine a couple of weeks now, and the channel's been a good resource for him. That makes me happy, man. I love prospector mining. Prospector's my favorite ship in Star Citizen. It's a great pastime. It's an incredible way to make some space bucks in Star Citizen, and it kind of opens up the rest of the game. Like I do tend to find like, oh well, I'd like to have that ship, or maybe I'd like to try that. I never seem to be short of money because I do a lot of this mining, which is a helpful thing. It's helpful to have deep pockets, and also gives me an opportunity to help my organization out and that type of thing. So that makes me really happy that you've benefited from the videos that I've put out. I try and do more of a working man's type thing. It's not going to be the highest octane or fanciest content, but I'd always hoped by the example of just kind of doing it is like the kind of the best teacher there. So yeah, a lot of that fell underneath there. There's 0.92 in that one. I'm going to try and wonder if there's one I can scan. It's right between there. It's difficult to see. I'm going to go ahead and scoop this one up just to get it out of the way, because there is a spot down there I can see. Keeping an eye on the timer here. Yeah, it's this one down here, but nope, that doesn't look like it has anything in it either. I think I'm just going to kind of scoop a couple of these up, trying to get them out of the way. See if there's one down here that's got a little more in it. Nope, that's ended up being quartz too. So yeah, a lot of that good stuff fell away there, that happens sometimes. I mean, it's the gamble you take, and you don't know if you start kind of scooping them up if you're going to be able to get it all. I definitely thought in my mind for a minute I might drive away from this, and maybe if I wasn't streaming I would have, because it's okay. Like, one of the things I will say is it's definitely okay to end up with a little less. There's still you still make quite a bit of money regardless. So, and I was into that pretty quickly. So off we go. We'll take this back into Arc L1. We'll throw it in the hopper, and we'll come back out and go after some more. Off saying, it's good for the bank account. Yeah, I appreciate that. I definitely, when I started playing Star Citizen, I kind of like, I really enjoyed Jack Axton's streams. Like, I don't have tons of time to watch a stream, but he's a super laid-back guy, and it's a stream that I absolutely recommend. He's a great job, does a great job with the trading, and is a very competent miner in his own right. Is a competent Star Citizen player, and so he has a super laid-back, chilled style. And so, if I were to say I got any influence for any of my Star Citizen stuff, it's kind of from him. There's lots of guys who are high octane and have really, really kind of fast-paced content. I do this to relax. Aki saying it freaked him out a little bit how How I didn't worry about the clock at all. It's one of the, I'll tell you guys a funny story. When I first started playing Star Citizen and mining, I didn't realize you could do the double jump, where like you come out of Quantum here, and you'll see what I'll come out of Quantum at Arc L1, and then I'll spool the Quantum back, drive back up, and do a second jump. And I didn't know that you could actually do that thing, a jump a second time, for the longest time. So I used to like come in on a rail in my Prospector, and then land the ship. Like I think you come out of Quantum somewhere around 60 km away, and I would just like kind of clench and fly through the asteroids and make it. So ever since I realized that you could do this thing where you could just spool up a second time and get closer, I've never worried about it ever again. Like it's like I know I'm shaving off so much time, and I think that has a lot to do with why I'm like, yeah, everything will be fine. We'll make it. Yeah, Athi saying, yeah, Jack, he streams a much longer than I do. I mean, my streams are probably hour and a half. His are sometimes can be 3 or 4 hours, and he has an amazing community of people that watch him and people that he knows, repeat customers or whatever. Great, he has got a great stream. I mean, I can't say enough about it. I definitely watch it when I can. Throw my headphones on when I'm trying to get drift off to sleep for the night and kind of watch some Star Citizen. Jonesy, thanks for coming out tonight, man. I appreciate it. Well, this morning for me, but afternoon for you. I appreciate the sub, absolutely. It means a ton to me. And have a great day. Take care. It was nice chatting with you. All right, so we're heading in here. We did not. We started out on a rock that was the best break was gonna be a 24 SCU, but we only were able to bring in about 13 or 14, a little over 14, I think, this time of it. And that just is because it was a bad break. I could have made a judgment call on it to just kind of leave it there after I seen kind of a lot of it broke and went underneath the planet, but I thought we'd try and pick it out of there.
Proceed to assigned landing bay.
So gear down, VTOL's back. We just asked for a landing bay. We got one in here. In we go. So
Landing gear down.
we haven't heard first alarm yet, so we know we're in good shape. I'm gonna hit the space brake there because I kind of came in hot. And let's just set her down nice and easy. Good, nice little touchdown there. There's first alarm. That's usually sometime around the time usually when I first touch down to the time I'm exiting the ship that I hear it. That is easy peasy. We got this one without any trouble. There's the old Prospector looking good. We'll check the branch on it before I head back out, but we'll for sure get this stuff down and get this thing stored and get it in the refiner real quick. Coffee tastes good this morning. It sure does. It's one of my worst vices, and I don't drink a ton of it. Just usually a glass or two maybe in the morning. Mostly just one, but I don't like it without some kind of a like hazelnut or something in it, and it's not good for me. But it sure tastes delicious. So we got the Prospector stored. And we are going to head down and throw the stuff in the refinery and head back out for another run. Little frog in my throat there. And we're almost down there. Afi's saying that the stream quality is looking good. You know, I have been tweaking. You know, I haven't been streaming too long, so I've been spending a lot of time like watching a lot of other content creators' comments on this proper settings, and it's one of the reasons why I've been actually going to Lyria a lot as well, is because I kind of have a baseline of what it looks like, and I think it is starting to look a little better. I think the audio quality is starting to get a little better. Still working on those things. I always want to have the best kind of quality that I can for the video. Just because of the fact that, you know, obviously if you're doing mining, it's not the, you know, it's not the greatest or most twitchiest thing that you're going to be doing. So I definitely want to make sure that the quality is good. I thought about maybe even getting fiber at the house, because I think a 50 by 50 would have a little better up than I have currently. But I don't have a bad up right now. It's a gigabit down, and it's usually up around 30 or 40 up. So it's not fantastic up, but I think the bit rate's been holding pretty good where I have it at, and I want it to get better though. I do. I hope it gets even better than what it is. Hey Siren, how you doing? Salute to you, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Siren saying the stream's looking good. That makes me happy. I keep an eye on, you know, kind of the stats, and we don't drop a whole lot of frames, so we're, you know, fairly low, like 0.01%, or 0.1%, I should say. So not too bad in that regard. Cool. Let's go ahead and do it. This is the pre-flight we always kind of do. And if you watch my stream, you know I always click the wrong button there when I go look at my ships every time, like it's my job. All right, so we're still loaded up good with brands. Let's go ahead and pull the prospector back out and head back out. I think I pulled prospector 2 by accident. So let's go ahead and fix that. I think that's going to change their orientation in here. Maybe not. Let's look and see. That was funny. So prospector 1, I have different paint jobs on. Yeah, so that's the one that I want. All right, pad 2, up we go. So Ati's asking if the mining UI, the older one, was easier to read. I do like the newer UI more than the older one. There is sometimes, though, the contrast on the new one is a little bit tough to read. So I did like the fact that I never really had a contrast issue with the old UI. But I think I do like the new UI better. And you can actually go back into like like Google, like Star Citizen Mining 3.13 or that type of thing, and you can go look at the old UI. But I think the new UI looks a little better, and I like how it's consistent across the different mining. You know, the ROC and the Prospector look relatively the same. Siren saying, hey, I noticed you have 2 prospectors. Is there any reason why? I do like to have 2 for a couple of reasons. One, I like to specialize one with Brants, and I like to specialize the other one with 2 surges and like an optimum, or 2 surges and a stampede for kind of larger rock breaking. The other thing is it's nice occasionally when I don't know why I got back out of the seat there, but I did for some reason. It's crazy nice to have it where sometimes if you're in a hurry, you can actually land and just pay the parking fine, but then you have to wait. So you can just pull that second prospector really quickly and just get back out there. You don't have to wait necessarily. So for some reason you happen to be running long and you have to kind of land on the wrong pad, they'll impound your vehicle within 30 seconds. It's a little quicker than running down and actually storing your ship yourself. My preference is to run down and store my ship myself. But if for some reason I'm running late or that type of thing, I can just land on the wrong pad, have them impound, and then I don't have to wait to take back off again and head back out. I just pull my other prospector and go. Ati Bumbler saying the contrast is I just wish that they had some kind of a way to tweak it, or maybe you could just like add some kind of a filter where like it almost looked like a tint came over the window or something. And if I'm perfectly honest, maybe there is something along those lines. I've never spent a lot of time looking for it, but I don't think so. If they ever do have that, I'll be making a short video on how to tweak it for sure. Yeah, Siren, especially it is an efficiency thing for sure. I had just did a big haul. I'd hauled a couple of tourist loads over and sold, and just didn't have anything in the hopper, so I figured, well, let's get started this morning and take a crack at it. Now that first one, it was 24 SU in the rock, but I think we only brought about 14 of it home. We had a 1200 mass break. It was at the bottom of the pile, and a lot of it broke and fell under the planet, and that happens when you mine. The way the things break makes a big difference on whether or not you're going to get how much of the total mass of the rock you're going to get in Quantanium, and sometimes if it's under the planet's geography, the rock can break and fall away, and you just won't get as much, and that's what happened in this case. But we still decided to grab it and haul it in. Refine, that's still 150 grand. We're not gonna sneeze at it. That's for sure. Back off to Lyria we go. Teddy's. I think it's up here was SPA 12. The orphanage. We'll head that way. That'll be all right. So Athi Bumbler's asking if I'm going to do some air and halo mining or some asteroid belt mining. Absolutely. I like going to the air and halo. I have one stream that I did out at the air and halo already. I'll definitely be doing a lot more of those this year as well. And I'm gonna. Even though you don't make that much money at it, I'm going to do some hand mining streams as well, and I'm going to do some ROC mining streams as well. I think it's nice to mix it up a little bit now and then. And the other thing is I have a hope that those skill sets will come in handy at some point. Like maybe all of a sudden someday somebody will just find some rock in a cave we're not used to seeing. And there'll be kind of a hand mining gold rush, or there'll be a rock mining gold rush, type of thing. So I do like to keep those skill sets kind of, in a good place and understand those mechanics as well. So definitely we'll be doing some air and halo mining. Absolutely we'll be doing some ROC mining and some hand mining as well. And then, at a much lesser clip, some bounty hunting and some other things like that. But probably like a poor man's approach to that. Like, there's so many good combat streamers. You know, it would be a real. I am mostly gonna mining stream. Like 99.7% is gonna be mining stream stuff. And that's for sure. It's more my speed. If piracy was real prevalent, like if I really felt a lot of pressure, I would probably mine in the air and Halo all the time. I do like the anonymity that comes with mining in the air and Halo, that's for sure. You know, we're not seeing a whole lot, so I think I am going to active ping there at first and just kind of... Robert is saying that he really loves the hand mining. It's a chill experience. Just not to get really careful. You're not to get stuck on the rocks in there. The inside of caves are very dangerous. I mean, obviously in real life they are too. But I mean, spelunking in Star Citizen is can be a trip. I mean, I have a rule that if I go hand mining in there, I never lay down. Every time I lay down, I end up clipping and falling through the planet. I cut my teeth on, you know, in Star Citizen on the hand mining loop. I actually hand mined enough to earn a ROC, and I had a Cuddy Black, so that's kind of how I got myself started. But I really like hand mining. I think it's enjoyable. I think it can be a really cool loop. Like I said, I hope that they have some more lucrative resources. And I also, you know, I also like the fact that you can sell out of your backpack, so you can pick that stuff up and sell out of your backpack. That's kind of nice. So we're off here looking to see if we can find something to mine. Going over the beautiful Lyrian Moon Hills. I really can't wait till they get volumetric clouds in all these areas. If it wasn't so windy on Microtech, I'd probably, you know, just for the beauty factor, would mine there more. Athi's saying he finds the caves a bit scary. Yeah, I can appreciate that. Razor, a guy who I mine with a lot, he smartly takes in the glow sticks. He'll break those and have those on his person and set them down, and you know, just kind of uses them as guideposts. I don't like to go in there that far if I don't have to, but there certainly can be a lot of minables, especially in some of the closed mines like Kudra, the closed mine on Daymar. There's a lot of rocks inside there, even before you have to actually crawl or go any further or deeper in. Is that a doubler over there? Or it's just... It's strange. Yeah, maybe. Oh, maybe it's a cluster. I think it is a cluster. Well, that's a good thing. It was strange the way it was drawing for me off to the side, so I was like, I don't know. Something's going on over there. Glad we caught that one. And this is kind of why we come to Lyria. You know, like, first time I took off in the stream, I landed and we found, you know, any cluster you find, it's always Quantanium. So we're going to have at least a crack at some other rocks here, and let's just see what we get. And it hasn't quite popped yet. I'm getting a little closer just to try and make it. See if I can get a server tick. when the rocks are white like this, or like up here in the more colder climes or whatever, you can't see the orange marbling as well on them. It might have went. It didn't quite go yet. Robert is saying, Microtech is really good for mining. I've had more luck there than on Lyria. It's a test of skill in the prospector and just plain luck in the mole. Calling it a test of skill in the prospector is absolutely right. I mean, the wind there is great. The environmental variables there can be, anything from, it can be tedious, but they absolutely can be challenging, blowing you around like it does. All right, we're going to look at a second rock here. I was hoping that the nose dip would make it pop, and sometimes it will, and sometimes it won't. We'll just kind of cycle through the things that we do to make this happen. MT Oxy Bumbler, Othi Bumbler is Microtech. That's what Robert is saying there. There are no longer breaks in the storms on Calliope. I really like going to Calliope. The first time ever when mole mining was on Calliope, really funny story that. And, there they finally decided that we were here, which is cool. Let's go over here and start scanning these. So this is a real good-sized mass rock. Not a ton of percentage in it, but that was a real big one. Not going to be a whole lot in this one. What do we have here? Not going to be a whole lot in that one. So we've got 5 more rocks to scan. What do we have here? This could be okay. Nope, that looks like it's only a 6%er. Actually surprised me. $5,700 there. $2% there. Huh. Yeah, I don't know that we found anything in this. So there's 2%. This one wasn't good. I don't know that we found something to mine in this cluster. That looked like it was 6. Yep, that was 2. I'm glad that I was remembering these. That one was not. That was only like 9.71. 2. 4. And this last guy wasn't that great either. Yeah, another 9.71. That's weird. Oh, Star Citizen. How can you random 2 9.71s? That's awesome. Off we go. Yeah, there was just nothing in that cluster. It happens. That's, not the first cluster I've drove away from, and it won't be the last. That is okay. It happens. Ooh, kind of some pretty blues on the surface up this way. We're on one of the poles, but it's just fantastic the way that they the way that they handle the way that that stand works with that kind of stuff. JFash is asking, what modules am I using? I have all brands on. I know, very vanilla, sorry. I have a Lancet with all brands because I'm primarily just Quantanium headhunting, and that kind of flattens out the instability and the resistance. There's a doubler. We'll go in and check out this doubler real quick. So, yeah, a pretty vanilla load with some, a Lancet and just 3 brands, just for making it easier to flatten out Quantanium instability. Alright, let's get in here and take a look at these guys. Alright. Cross our fingers here. First rock. Oh, this is going to be a good one. It's a 4200, 23%. Was hoping to be a little closer to the 30s, but that's all right. And this is another decent one. So, all right. Well, we've got so this is an interesting one as well. I believe that says it's 6,000 or slightly over 6,000 at 32%. I think we're gonna try this one. It might not be. I just want to say, I want to make sure it says 6,000 and it doesn't say 8. Sometimes I think that is just 6,000. We may not be able to break this one, but I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to get real close on it, and we're gonna give it a heck of a go and see if we can build energy into this thing. I think that thing says 6,000. The UI is a little mashed there. Let's see if we can build energy into it at all. If I get real close, if I can slowly build any energy into it. I'm going to flatten it out with a brand too and see if we can get any energy into it. Nope, the brands are actives. All of them. JFash is asking if I have consumables or if I have the passive modules. All mine are consumables. They're the ones where I have to activate or trigger. So it's the brands, BRANDTs that I am using. So we had this discussion a little earlier. This is right out here on the edge of the range. And you can see even with a brand flattening it out and me being just hugging the thing, I'm not able to quite get enough energy into this thing. So we'll cut that one. We'll cut our losses. It was just wondering if I could get a little something in that one. There's certainly a lot more Quantanium in that rock, and so thought we'd give it a try. This one here is only going to be, let's take a look. I'll use QuantCalc, and we'll take a look here. QuantCalc is a mobile application for just, you can bang in like 4234 real quick, and then the Quantanium percentage is 2320. That is only 20 SCU of Quantanium. Well, you know what? We'll grab it. Obviously it's hard when that other one's sitting right there. Good news is we can kind of use the sun, and I try to use the sun a lot, especially in the air and Halo, to kind of give us some contrast as well for the UI HUD. You can see I kind of put that right in the shadow there, and I can see it much better. Robert says he's got to run. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you enjoyed the streams. It truly is my pleasure. I just do this because I love it. So Robert, thank you very much for coming on board today. Have a great day. Thank you for stopping out. The Surge and the Stampede, just when I feel like it. Oxy Bumbler's asking, do I just use those when I feel like it? I use them, it's almost more for instructional reasons, because I honestly don't go around looking for bigger rocks, although that would be a perfect big rock. And if there was a way, like if I could set a box down or do something where I could come back and guarantee that would be there, I would, it would be a good educational thing. It is definitely a specialized thing. You kind of, there's some give and take in it. You're going to be spending a lot more time kind of articulating the laser in that capacity in general anyways, because even though if you get all those rocks to mine, but you don't have the branch necessarily to kind of flatten them out. Of course, if you do really well with your surges and a stampede, you could just do a one surge, one stampede, and one stampede and one brand, and in that particular case, you then at least have the ability to kind of flatten it out a little bit if you happen to do run into one, and that's going to be a good. Most of what we're looking for is in that one rock right there, so let's kind of know that. That's a good thing. Cool. Nothing in there. Definitely nothing in there. There's this one in the, that's, I think there's, you can see that one little piece. That one's underground too. Look at 74% of the, and it's just a small mass rock, but it is funny. And this is some garbage on the top. That's all right. We'll break this 95%er down first, and then we'll try and see if that bubbles up a little bit of the other one that's down there. I'll go ahead and flatten this out. Oh.
Power critical.
Yeah, just turn the laser off for just a sec. And then just kind of give it a little bit more energy. It will fall out before we do. Good. And just keeping it tweaked. Bring that instability down into a manageable range with that branch, and this is just easy pickings. Alright, so that guy broke. And then there is this one that's underneath here. There's this little piece of it right there that I can see. It's so funny. Hopefully I don't move too much. See how I kind of... The shaking will even knock me off of it. We'll see how it goes. It's a little rock. But little or not, there's a lot of money in it. Kind of keeping an eye on it here. We're a good way through the break. I don't know if we'll get the whole thing before the brand expires. Oh, I think we're going to get it. It broke, but I think most of it went under, if I were to guess. Let me just double check that there's not anything more here. Oh, actually, Bumbler, I love chatting Star Citizen. Don't ever worry about asking questions. So your question is, so is the mole good for solo, or can you set it up? I use the molo. The mole. That's hilarious. I use the mole mostly in organizational stuff, or when I have a couple buddies around. You can absolutely solo in it. If you are going to solo in it, I recommend the Air and Halo for soloing in it. I think it's a little more forgiving as far as kind of lining the ship up and that kind of thing. You get a little less desync. At least that's been my experience with it. I tend to find, after owning the mole for a long time, for my own personal taste, it's a little tedious to solo in. But when I first got it, I was solo crazy in the thing, as you can imagine. So I mostly just go prospector mining nowadays. I think we're ready. I think we're ready to extract. We'll go ahead and just get started. And please, don't even worry about the questions. Chatting Star Citizen stuff is one of my favorite things to do. My poor family. My wife in particular is like, no more Star Citizen videos. Alright, there's another hundo. Let's get that guy. Scooped up. The cool thing about the mole is we use that really for, and I know it's going to seem strange, but we use it a lot for just as a big extractor. Like when we do mining ops, my preference is to have the prospectors out in front doing the braking, and the mole just flying back and forth, scooping, and scoop, fly back, refine, come back, and just kind of scoop. And so because it's got the 96 SCU hold in it, it's kind of nice. Now, yeah, a lot of this, I think a lot of that one rock broken. I don't think any more of this has anything in it we can. We'll get a scan result on the rest of this. Yeah, I didn't think that had anything in it. I don't think this has anything in it. Ah, yes. My wife is she's great. I mean, she mostly does. We have our own kind of hobbies, and that's what we do. But it's I definitely like to watch a lot of, just kind of do research and watch a lot of Star Citizen videos and stuff. Well, you know what? This is an interesting day. I mean, a lot of that broke and fell underneath too, or we couldn't get to it all. So it's okay, though. That's that happens. It's hard to quantify like how much time I could have spent looking for more stuff. So it's definitely a working man's day today on the mining stream. We haven't got any unicorns or full we've got a couple of actually lower SCU runs, and that doesn't always happen, but it does now and then, and you just got to take the good with the bad and go take care of it, and that's what we're doing. In we go. For those of you who've been watching the stream, I do like to mention this. I usually use mouse and keyboard when I'm doing the mining part of stuff, but I switch back to sticks when I do the flight part of it. Hey, Stefan, how you doing? Stefan's saying he's doing the same thing this morning, a little Quantanium and coffee. Yeah, that's exactly right. A little bit of mining, a little bit of Java drinking. Great way to spend your morning, making a few space bucks and staying awake doing it. It's funny. I mean, sometimes I start to stream, I head out and I get 2 unicorns in a row. Sometimes I start to stream and I head out and I get a couple of a lower volume. Both of those rocks broke with over 20 SCU in them, or at least the math was there that they had over 20 SCU in them. But it's a good lesson. There are occasions where they're impacted. Where it breaks is underneath the surface and it falls away. Through the, it clips out and just falls away and you don't get it all. So, at the end of the day, we're still, have made a couple 100,000 in the stream today. We can do the math, but, mining is just one of those things that's super relaxed and fun to do. And you make a little money at it, and makes it all the better when you get to chat with a few people who like Star Citizen as well. So, yeah, there's a ship over there. So we're bringing our second load of Quantanium in here, and we'll go ahead and get it in the refiner, and I think we might have time to run back out and do one more.
proceed to assigned landing bay.
Pull the gear down, pop the VTOLs. Haven't heard first alarm yet, so we're in good shape. We'll bring her in here and set her down on the pad. Easy peasy landing.
Landing complete. Have a pleasant stay.
Turn off the engines and we go. Still haven't heard first alarm. We're doing pretty good. I wonder if it'll go off on our way out. A lot of times it does. Stefan is asking, do I mine on Lyria? Yeah, I mine on Lyria, and there's a couple reasons for that. One of them is anytime you find more than 2 rocks, 2 or more, it's always Quantanium. The other reason is I've established kind of a baseline of going there because I've only been streaming a couple weeks and I'm changing the settings on OBS quite a bit, monkeying around looking for the best possible stream quality. And it helps, honestly, when I watch the streams kind of side by side. And so I've been doing a lot of Lyria mining because it's like, if you do the same thing, it's easier to kind of have a baseline to compare against. Eventually, I think I'll have my settings dialed in. And I want to say, quite honestly, I prefer variety. I mean, Lyria is a consistent moneymaker for me, but I do this because I enjoy it. I love mining on Daymar. I love mining on Yella or Selin. You know, I absolutely wouldn't mind heading over to Wallen now and then. Athi Bumbler saying he, you know, he almost had an accident in his pants when the first time his alarm went off. That alarm could be scary. You know, I don't disagree with that. You know, and I remember the first few runs I made with Quantanium. Like I said, I didn't realize you could do that double jump in, and you had to kind of come in really fast at 60 kilometers out. I was scared for sure, and I've lost a load or two. I've actually had a couple of bugs here and there too, very, very few and far between, where you kind of just put a crumb of Quantanium on and off, you know, you just explode. Yeah, so you do enough mining, you see it, you do see some crazy things, and you have to have a laugh over it. That's for sure. So kind of a working man's mining stream today. We certainly haven't made a ton, you know, a huge killing, but I think we're probably up to almost a full prospector load here, maybe between 2 of them, but that's okay.
Hi, good to have you back.
Let me come. Let's get this guy started. I do the Dynic Solvination generally. I think it's the one that it's the slowest, but you know you also get the most yield, and it costs the least amount. So about 25 SCU or so between the 2 loads. So you know, not too shabby. And one second.
Form into billing.
Keep moving here. Text from my sister, so I thought I'd respond for just a sec there. Be respectful. The good thing about the elevator rides is you have an opportunity to get a sip of coffee. So Siren's asking an important question. He's saying, so you have to transport the refined material to a planetary TDD or where best to sell. So that's absolutely correct. But you used to have to fly it right down to the planet. One of the things that I do, for instance, it is true you have to sell it at TDD. But what, like from here at Arc L1, and here, I'll just show you. I will actually fly from Arc L1 to Bajini. So if we kind of scroll down here in Arc L1, there's the orbital Bajini point. I will fly my Connie Taurus usually with up to 174 SCU of Quantanium to Bajini. I'll land on Bajini Point, and then I'll take a skiff down to the planet's surface. Right now, the orbitals and the main landing zones on the planet. So if it's Port Tressler for Microtech, for New Babbage, it's Port Tressler for New Babbage. It's Everest Harbor for Hurston, for Lorville. It's Bajini for Area 18, and it's Port Alisar for Orison. You can actually land on the orbital station and then take a skiff down and sell, and you can sell standing in the TDD in any of those places, even though you landed your ship at the orbital station. I don't know how long that's going to last, but that's the way it works now, and so that's the way I do handle business for now. So I did that pre-flight where I checked. You could see I was short a surge. I was short a Brant and added that. And we will pull the Prospector one more time and go for a little run and see if we can't do a little better than the last couple of times. Yeah, Siren is saying the local inventories connect between the main landing zone on the planet that they, and that is absolutely correct. Pad 2. Yep, Pad 2. So I tend to find, like, especially like with Area 18, there are times when, like, I never seem to disconnect, but there are times when it's just it becomes kind of a slideshow, and I get this little weird message where it says resyncing to server and that kind of stuff. The other thing at Area 18 I have quite honestly experienced a couple times with my skiff is I'll land it, I'll run over to the terminal to store it, and it will say, I store it, but then it says claim. Like, it totally makes me claim the ship after that. I've only lost one prospect, like one Taurus, like 30 SCU selling of that. That happened to me one time. That's why I always land at the... I've never had that happen at the orbital station. But I've had it happen several times with my skiff at Area 18 and one time with my Taurus. So that's one of the main reasons why I do that. Alright. Cool, we got plenty of... Look like we're topped off already. We're head back out to Lyria one more time today and see if we can't make a few more space bucks. So, yeah, off to ArcCorp here. And we'll, as soon as we get to ArcCorp here, we'll pivot towards Lyria and do it one more time. It's funny. I mean, I started streaming a couple weeks ago. My family's gotten really good about, you know, about checking the door and where in my office where I stream, and I really appreciate it. In those little quiets, usually there's a little bit of home community. You can't be a father of four and not and just tune the world out forever. It's just not like that. So. Fortunately, my a couple of my daughters are adults, and so that I think they're fairly respectful of things. So makes it easier. Cool. All right, let's take a look here. I think there's Teddy's. I think this is probably still the orphanage up here. Let's hit oh, that's a 425. That's a little further out, I think. 419 is the pit. I think this was 3 something. Yeah, we'll go back towards the orphanage. That's just fine. I try and stay on the light side of the planet. It doesn't bother me to mine in the dark, but the cool thing about being on the light side of the planet on Lyria is you will be just, it's like a one, you set Arc L1 to fly back to, and it's just a one jump thing. You don't have to hit an OM before you get out of there, which doesn't matter too much if you did, but that's how I like to do it. And we're already pretty good. Get a little lower here and head on in. Guy off, and we will just cruise. I like to head in one direction for a little while, but I definitely like to always be kind of heading towards the sun if I can too. It ensures me that I'm kind of going to stay in daylight, so I'm always going to stay where it's that one jump to get to Arc L1. But I definitely like to hang out around the hills a little too. Where I see hills, I'll head in that direction. Beautiful flying over Lyria. Turn on the cruise control and take a sip of coffee, and we'll just kind of ping our way to victory here. I think I just seen some hadnite pop underneath me for a second, or a rock mineable. This direction. Bumbler saying he prefers the dark side even with the extra hop. I can appreciate that for sure. Having the contrast on the laser can be a real benefit. That's for sure. And I usually don't even flirt too much with first alarms. There's plenty of time. You absolutely can go on the dark side. I certainly don't think that with a little bit of discipline, I don't think that the extra hop is too big of a tax. Not at all. I think Bumbler's saying he finds it a little easier for it to mark some of the to mark out the rocks, and that makes sense to me too. Having some contrast and that type of thing it definitely makes it a little easier. With this arrow, I like using the arrow Gray Cat armor, the hazard set, because it kind of makes the rocks yellow, and the boxes yellow, and those stand out really well on if against Lyria's hue. So is that a pair of double? That is some doublers right there at the top of that hill. Now these will fall. It's been that kind of a day. It's been a working man's day. These will definitely come tumbling down, but I will go in and scan these doublers as we just kind of get a glimpse of the beautiful Stanton sun. We'll kind of take a look and see what side of the face these are on. Looks like they're inside this little valley area. This one here is out this way. Let me slow her down. I'm going to bring the limiter down just a touch so we can have a little finer tuning to articulate. We will pull out the mining laser and we will get a scan on these things. Now these will break and fall. This is going to be a 10%er, so not quite what we're looking for there. You can see a large portion of this one is inside there. This is a 6.47, so not quite enough in there for us to kind of get too worked up about. So we'll just kind of keep moving. Keep her moving. Turn towards the sun. Let me kind of ramp the speed back up a touch. I turned the limiter down just for a little more fine articulation around the minables. Go ahead and fire on, turn on the cruise control, and off we'll get back going again here. Perfect day for a cruise. Oh, there's a big old cluster right there, so we'll go ahead and turn off the turn off the cruise control, and let's get on in there and let's take a look and see what we got. That is a healthy cluster. What do we got there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good stuff. Actually got to turn down that, once again, turn that down a little bit, so a little finer tuning on the, and we're just going to kind of get in here and get close, and there they go. All right, well, we'll start the scan process now. This is a 4900 at about 4.64. What do we have here? 7,200 at 2%. This is a 4,200 at 9%, 8.97, I think it said. That's a 3,400 guy at low percent. Oh, Othie Bumbler saying that the name comes from a Stephen King book. I didn't know that. It's not one I recognize. I do. Stephen King's written a couple of things that I have thought have been very good, like the short stories. like the Langoliers, and The Long Walk is one of my favorite short stories. It's so creepy. Somewhat fitting. And then, I do like the Dark Tower series as well. The first book in particular is fantastic. I think it's Eyes of the Dragon, maybe. I do like that book a lot. This is another... Look at this is the second cluster I'm going to drive away from. There was nothing in this cluster worth a hoot. So, that's the way it goes mining. It is one of those things where, I love to do it, so it doesn't matter if I have to, I want to come out here every time and get and get a full prospector load. That's the goal, but it doesn't happen every time, and so one of the things is I don't, I mine every day, just about. So you're kind of the unfiltered version in that capacity when I stream. I just kind of go with the flow. Whatever is there is there. It's been a long time since I read Dark Tower stuff. It really has been. Oh, I'm going slow. I was like, what's taking so long? There we go. We'll get this guy back up to a little, I'd like to cruise around 300 or so. Got some hills over this way. One to pop over there just to see. And we'll head back over this way. Keep on cruising and we'll find something to mine, that's for sure. That is for sure. Athie's asking me, did I consider any other ships besides the Connie? I used to use the Freelancer Max for quite a long time. I really like the Freelancer Max. The Freelancer Max is a cool ship, and it's got 122 SCU, which is plenty. And it at least allowed me to do a 1-to-1 with Mole. Obviously the Mole can hold 96, so that it gave me the capacity to be able to haul. I mean, once you have the Mole, you can't use the Cuddy Black anymore as a 1-to-1 because you might have beyond the 46 SCU or whatever that one can carry. So the first hauling ship that I would recommend kind of for mining, if you can't afford the Connie, is the Freelancer Max. I think that's a really good ship. It's also really good for rock mining. It's a little bit slept on for rock mining, but it's real easy to get those ROCs in the back of that thing, and it's long too, so you can get a couple of them in there easy peasy. Frank Lone Star saying the raft for the win. I like Argo stuff. I won't say that I don't. The raft is it's going to be interesting when they do the physicalized cargo with the raft to see how much faster with those boxes on the outside is it going to be able to go. I think that's a real important metric. With it being able to just take the standardized 32 SU containers and grab those and throw them on its backside really quick and move on. Is that going to be faster than loading stuff in, physicalized inventory inside a ship? I mean, it would, at face value, it seems like the answer would be yes, but we'll have to see how they implement that stuff. If that's the case, then that raft is going to be a real strong contender for a lot of for some smaller mining runs or cargo runs for sure. I really like the raft. I mean, I didn't purchase it myself, but I really do like it. I think it's a great ship. I definitely like the fact that it's got the I really like the way that they designed the interior of that ship. I thought they did a really good job with it. So 3.18 is what I think they're saying is when they're going to do the cargo refactor. We'll see. I think it's some tech is, you have to have some tech to kind of support other tech. So we'll see how the year progresses for them. I think the cargo, refactor could be a lot of fun, especially if they get some kind of level of quanta going. I would really like to see where, like, maybe there's a run, like aluminum's worth, a lot more, or bexolite, or, some of the other things that you can mine. That it hasn't seemed like there's been a whole lot of reason necessarily to go after that stuff. So Frank is saying that it's variable the way its configuration would work. Like it can haul 3 small cargo containers, or 2 mediums, or 1 large. I hadn't read that, but it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. Oh, there's a doubler. I had not read that myself, but like I said, that wouldn't surprise me. So the personal hangars are different than the cargo refactor for sure. Athi's asking is, now the persistence and that type of stuff is probably all important parts of it in the background, but the personal hangars and the cargo refactor are a couple of different things. They're bringing in some cargo ships that can't really come down to the planet surfaces. The hull series are going to be too big. Some of them are, and so. This is going to be a good rock. Yep, that's an excellent rock. It's a 4,700 pound at 35%. So I'll do the math on that while we're talking about this. So let me just do the math on this real quick. I'm going to pull up QuantCalc, and we've got a rock mass at 4718, 718, and we've got a Quantanium percentage of 34.81. 34.81. Yeah, that's 32 SCU, 32.85 of SCU in this rock here, so this is good. And kind of getting back to the chats. Cargo, not large spell checker. Oh, yeah, the cargo refactor is definitely different than the than the actual persistence of personal hangars. Which is, both of them are exciting. The cargo refactor is the most exciting to me because you would assume that there would be some orbital way to get a large amount of cargo and then haul it someplace else. So it's going to be interesting to see how they implement all that stuff as this year goes on, for sure. I won't need any help breaking this one. It's only a 4,700 pound mass. This is like right in the wheelhouse. If this breaks nice, there's a unicorn amount. Now, we'll see. I mean, but this is probably going to be, if I were to guess, at least a mid-20s. Won't need any. The Lancet will handle this guy just fine. Build a little energy into it. Let's scooch it this way. Well, this, obviously if we do it right, this could be a nice rock to kind of end the stream on today. This is a good one. Definitely, hard work pays off, and we came out first couple of times we had over 20 SCU in each rock, but they broke funny, and we lost some of that stuff underneath the planet's surface, and that's just mining. That's just the way it goes. But we've got one here that potentially we could definitely have a nice mid-20s or so, on board if it breaks clean. So it's starting to get up towards the window where it will start breaking. So keeping a good close eye on it. And just kind of keeping it, if it's going to fall out of the optimal window, kind of just cranking it back up and feathering it down if it looks like it's going to climb into the overcharge. Usually on these first breaks, I don't need a brand. Sometimes you do. And, you make so much money, you burn the consumable. Just do it. I think we got a good break going here. This looks like we're going to kind of handle this real clean. Good. Good break. And it looks like most of it's broken up on the surface. That's a good sign. That right there is a 459 at 93%. Okay. Let's just kind of get some altitude. And this one won't have anything in it. Okay. Looks like there's a couple down there. One's kind of impacted. This looks like a 506. So yeah, it's not a. We definitely didn't see the 100% break. This guy on top's is just a bunch of nothing in it. What about this guy here? Bunch of nothing in that one too. So there is a couple. Boy, it seems like I've gotten all the breaks they've been underneath. Look at that. That's gonna be another 90-some%. So I've got that one there, and then a couple of guys low in the. All right. Well, we will just go ahead and get started here. Kind of getting the lay of the land. We'll flatten these out with the Brant and not even think twice about it. That's a 2.38 instability, so not something you really want to tangle with when you don't need to. No need to be a hero, and for efficiency standards, it's easy to just break the rock cleanly and move on. A little bit of shake, but easy peasy to handle, and this looks like we're gonna have a nice clean break here. Hoping we have a little mustard on this break to get stuff away. Doesn't look like it, so got another one to break down here. Let me prompt the results. The Brant, we got about 30 or so seconds left. I'm actually going to crank up pretty high and then let it decay off in a sec. Just try to get it up close into the green window as soon as possible, but hopefully, yeah, there we go. I was going to say not lose control of it. Try and get as much of that Brant window as we can inside the break. I will let sometimes the Brant expire and just see if it will just kind of not jump crazy one way or the other for the first couple seconds, not swing wild too much. But if it falls out for a long time, I won't. Yeah, it looks like we managed to do it. Oh, it looks like a lot of that broke up too. That's good. So, all right, on to the next one here. definitely you know, when you work your way up there, you do have to be pretty vigilant just to make sure that you don't get yourself into a jam. But for the most part, it's, you know, once you kind of fire that branch, you know, it's going to bring that instability down to a manageable range. And between the lancet and the branch, it's easy work. It's certainly a little slower than some of the other methods you could use, but it's certainly much more stable. Alright, we're going to look here one more time to make sure we're not leaving something on the table. There's a 709 down there too. Everything that I have mined today has been an under the surface type. Like when it's broke, it's always broke down. It's funny. That's alright. But it is just funny. It's been a working man's mining day for sure. Okay. Bring this guy down into manageable range. Check the time on the brand. The brand's going to expire pretty quickly, so I'll have to fire another one. I won't want to flirt with this one for too long when I've got it in a real good place. It'll be interesting to see how much of this I get. It started out as 32 SCU, but a lot of the big parts of the rocks have been down low at the bottom. Good. Interesting. So I don't think there was anything in this one. No. I don't think there was anything in this one. No. So I do think we're ready to extract. So let's just go ahead and start doing that. A lot of it's underneath, so we're going to have to pick through pretty clean. We'll start out with 100% quant. We'll do that. What do we have next here? Another 100%er. Another hundo. That's a 78. We'll come back to that and we'll kind of make note that it's there. All right, next. Nothing in that one. Okay. Scooch over here and start trying to work these lower guys. $22%, eh? Let's kind of get down here on this. There's a hundo. There's one underneath there too. Got to be patient here. It's a 71. I'd like to get the hundos on board first, if I can. There's a hundo. Kind of working the edges of this guy. I'm going to kind of scooch down here a little touch and kind of off to the side here. There's a hundo. Alrighty. I'm going to kind of scooch off over this way and see if we can see maybe one more under there. Nope. So this guy here was what? I know I was on this guy. I think this was a 70 something. but I can immediately see the inert pick up when I tapped it. Yeah, we'll take the 71%er in now. I don't know if we have much of a choice. Oh, that might have actually freed up a look behind it, which is great. There's a 174, that's a 90. We'll grab that guy. And we're over 20 SCU at Quantanium, so we're definitely having a little better go this time. There's one more in here. Let's see if we can get on it. Keeping an eye on the timer. We're still 13 minutes. That is enough. That's nothing. What is this guy right here? This little 75 is got 22%. What is this guy? Probably looked at these ones, but there's a hundo sitting right there, a big juicy one. So now we are north of 24 SCU. We'll take this guy. I don't know what this guy was. Yeah, another juicy hundo. Good, 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 good. So we're starting to get up around 26 SCU here. I think some of the stuff up here wasn't as good as I recall. Notice I'm just kind of tapping it with the laser and then letting it, you know. The second method is just watch the Quantanium as you kind of haul it in. It was going up, so I know that there was this one over here that had Quantanium in it. It was this one. So we're north of 27 SCU, north of 28. We did really well. This was a, this was a decent. We're gonna top off here. Yeah, good run. Go ahead and set the route here. I'm gonna switch back to sticks. Pull in the mining laser. Off we go. Kind of pivot out towards the sun. Spool up our quantum drive. And no, I've been watching your guys' conversation, kind of off to the side while I was kind of focusing on doing that mining. Theory crafting is just a blast in Star Citizen. That's half the game for me anymore. I mean, I love to mine, but I do like the theory craft, and I really do look forward to some of the future just systems. Salvage I think is going to be a blast. The cargo refactor is going to be a blast. I wouldn't mind cargo hauling a lot more than I do it now, if it was consistent. I mean, I do think that the C2s and their ability to haul so much cargo has had an interesting impact, and I do watch Jack Axton's cargo report quite a bit. And I don't know if he's done one recently, but I do watch when he kind of collects that information, and if there's ever a kind of a gold rush type thing, quote unquote, with cargo hauling, I'd love to do it. The C2 Hercules is the ship I'm saving up for myself right now. I just think that it's such a valuable thing to have for hauling whatever you want to haul. And Athi's saying, hey, was saying, what is theory crafting? It's just kind of learning about the game and just philosophizing about what how it could be, or tinkering with different mechanics to see if you can kind of get some extra thing or along those. Hey, Bullshark's asking the question. He says, I am new to mining. Where should I take my prospector to mine Quantanium? Bullshark, I personally like Lyria. Different people will tell you different places. Lyria, I like it because if you find more than 2 rocks, anything more than 2 rock icons is always going to be Quantanium. So I do a lot of Quantanium head hunting on Lyria. The Aaron, if you're on a server with some, there's some active pirating going on. I think the Aaron Halo is a good place. Now, Aaron Halo there's good videos on how to navigate to the Aaron Halo. You just kind of have to drop out of quantum in the middle of space in order to go to go to the Aaron Halo. Also, Daymar, Daymar is a decent place to. There's lots of clusters there. Not every one of them is guaranteed to be Quantanium, but I do find nice large percentage Quantanium rocks on Daymar as well. I tend to recommend, at least when you're a new miner, avoiding microtech. because it's really windy, so the environmental challenge there can be a little tedious when you're a new miner. But yeah, Lyria is a moon off of ArcCorp, and you know, if you go back and watch a lot of my streams, I've been mining there a lot lately, and I usually do really well. Frank said he's taken off to the store. He said he'd be back. It only is on Lyria that way. The only place in the verse right now where the 2+ rocks is always Quantanium is Lyria. No other place. When you find clusters other places, it can be whatever. When you find any, you know, it's always Quantanium on Lyria. What am I doing here? Oh, yeah, this. Alright, called for the pad. We haven't even had first alarm yet, so we're doing really well. We'll go ahead and bring the limiter down. I've got the gear down, got the VTOLs out. And we will just cruise her on in for an easy landing. We'll land her this way for you this time. You can get have a little fun with it. Enjoy the beauty of Star Citizen. Now, I pride myself, even though I don't always do a good job, and as soon as I usually say something, it doesn't happen, on nice, smooth landings with Quantanium. Let's just see how we do here. I'm going to scooch up just a touch more, nose up a touch more. Down we go. Nice. Easy peasy. Okay. Turning off the engines. We still have not had first alarm yet. A lot of times first alarm only happens when I'm headed out the ship. In this particular run, not sure we're going to hear it on the way out even. So we're in really good shape. We're going to go down, we're going to store this guy and put another one in the hopper. Oh yeah, the VTOL is really important for the prospector, especially for getting, you know, flying off of some planet areas. You definitely want to use that VTOL. It will be a real slow climb if you have if you have them in the wrong position. Hey Morvip, you know, I am gonna have a Morvip saying, hey, you gotta let us know, man. Yeah, it's true. Here's the thing. I'm still working on the settings, the OBS settings, and to get the best stream quality, the best audio quality. Once I kind of feel like I have that stuff dialed in, then I am going to try and set some regular times for streaming. A lot of it is just, you know, when I've definitely been doing it more on a basis where if I have the time or that type of thing, or if I've made some changes or found some settings in OBS that I wanted to tweak a little bit. So we got the prospector stored there. So yeah, I appreciate that. I definitely need to do a better job of kind of saying when the stream is going to be on, and we'll do that in the future for sure. All right, so we probably put, I think with this, I think we have 27 or 28 on board. We'll count up what we put in the hopper today. First rock we mined, it was a 24 SCU. Most of it broke and fell underneath the planet surface. Second rock we mined, it was, I think, a 27 SCU. Most of it broke and fell under the planet surface. It was funny, but we dug it out anyway. So it was a working man's mining stream today. We definitely had to dig it out. Morvip's, asking stuff about the org. The org that I'm in is just an absolutely fabulous group of guys. It is, I think it's spectrefleet.space. And I have my Discord handle in the it's analytical number 8011. So if anybody's ever, has any questions about it, I'm always happy to answer questions about it. We have an absolutely awesome organization, great group of guys. And we do lots of stuff in-star citizen, mining, and also just, all sorts of stuff. It is, like I said, a super, super, very well organized, not too crazy as far as, not crazy where, everybody has a life, we're all, we all, married with children, and so it's, it's professional, but it's not, overzealous in that regard. So let's see, I've got 20, I put in about 26, and 12 is 36, and so we put about 40 some SEU in the hopper this morning. Not too bad. Oh, Razor found a double unicorn yesterday, but no friends to help. It's true. We did Jumptown Thursday night late, and then last night I was not around, so sorry I missed him. That's too bad. Obviously, finding those unicorns is nice, and we do a good job of calling each other and that kind of a thing. So sorry I missed that. It seems like Razor's always finding the unis when I'm not around. So we find Razor and we do tons of mining together, and he's great at great on the laser, great fun. Crack a beer, do some mining, and off we go. So I want to say I've enjoyed the stream today. That's all the time I really have today to stream this morning. We did 3 runs. We put almost 50 SEU in the hopper, so can't complain there. And had lots of excellent conversations. So one of the things I always like to say in my stream, especially Quantanium coffee, was the coffee was really, really good, but the company was much better. Bullshark's asking, hey, what's a unicorn? A great question. A unicorn is where the prospector can hold 32 SEU, so if you get a full 32 SEU of Quantanium, we call that a unicorn. Or with a mole, a unicorn is 96 SEU. So if your entire load that you've mined that day is 100% Quantanium and your ship is full, that's called a unicorn. So whenever, obviously you break the rocks down, sometimes they have 40 or 50 SEU in them, and then, or more. And then if you happen to just get 100% Quantanium and all the extractions, that's what a unicorn is. It's when you have 0% of anything else, no inert, nothing else in that. So, yeah, that's a good question. What's a unicorn? So, but I'm going to sign off here, everybody. I had a great time in the stream today. I'm absolutely super excited about the year to come. We're going to be doing a ton of mining streaming, just like this, real simple, easygoing stuff. So thanks for coming out today. I really appreciated everybody's time and energy, and I'll see you guys all around the verse.